Caitlyn and the rest of the team, but they've had enough weeks to scrim. And at the same time, there are so many star players on this lineup. So I'm happy to see them playing well in the first game. I want to see Origen step up their game in this one. And I want to see Origen show that they also have a star-packed lineup who can challenge a team like G2. But it might take more time because, again, there's a bit more synergy to be built, a few more questions.
Yeah. G2 so far have answered those questions, though, for themselves, that their bot lane would be able to slot in. They would be able to affect those changes effortlessly. It looks that way so far, but we still got plenty of game to play as we get back out of the pause situation. So far, it looks like we will be in for those standard lanes. Mithy going on a little bit of a roaming spree to see if there's anyone else hanging out in those brushes, but no, it's just the jungle buddy system up top side, and everything is so standard. Yeah,
Perkz got 3 Raptors there with the saplings from Kikis setting him up. 2 saplings, gets the small Raptors very low, and that means 1 hit coming in from an Azir, and then he will get them. So you see him having a small experience advantage early on. He gets level 2 now. And what do we look at bot lane? Because G2 we do some early trades, and Hybrid missing their pulverize here.
And the tahm kench stacks building onto Forgiven. A little bit of trouble to start things off here. Might have to munch his biscuits a little sooner than he wanted to.
And Pyro, you know we've been here long when I'm already done with my water number 2 and we into the second.
You know, you got to stay hydrated, Deficio. It's like drinking potions, staying healthy. Mithy is having a little bit of fun in this bottom lane. Meanwhile, PowerOfEvil's not having nearly as much fun.
Yeah, it's always, in this matchup, it's always been Azir getting the early push going because Viktor needs his first Hex Core upgrade to get proper wave clear to push back with his laser, and also again with the early Raptors going for Perkz. It is important. Early level 2 means Viktor has to just back away, and that gives the push for the mid lane. But amazing early gank here. We talked about this Fizz who really wants to get a few items under his belt. One way to do that is by ganking the Maokai.
Level 3 gank. Spider coming in, flashes, and a flash followed by Kikis. Exploding Spiderling, they land the cocoon! And that's first blood over to SoaZ.
Amazing, just completely tricked all of us with that flash. He was waiting for the reaction as well from Kikis. Ended up saving the cocoon, went into Spider Form, went then back out to cocoon, so kind of missed everything around. But he got the flash from Kikis, he gets the first blood over to SoaZ. Great start here from Origen with the standard lanes, with the Fizz, who can, even as a tank, become so hard to deal with. Yes, he won't one-shot you, but you won't be able to kill him in time. He can dodge around with Trickster, and he has decent base damage.
So SoaZ picking up a little extra gold in his pocket. He'll be pretty happy with that situation, starting things off. But Amazing's not going to rest. He moves right down towards the bottom side, will run right into the ward, recently placed.
You lied to us.
Or not! He tricked me too.
Yeah.
Turns his attention towards the Wolf Camp instead.
And Trick
Speaking of Trick.
Buff, because obviously when you see an early gank on top side with just a red buff, you know blue buff is still available and you just steal it away.
Did he just miss or just barely get his Mark of the Kindred?
He just got it.
Yeah, okay, cool. That's one of those really good
yeah.
feels. It's like when you catch the bus, like right as it's pulling away.
Yes. Best feeling ever as a Kindred. I'm feeling your blue buff and then, oh, is that Rift Scarlet we're getting?
It's like
Mark
the game wants
here.
me to get fed.
Perfect. Maybe the game is making up for the 3 Cloud Dragons from game 1.
Except it's still a Cloud Dragon.
Ah!
Unlucky. Oh! Flash! Pulverize from Hybrid, knocking Mithy right into the team, but it's a 3v3 as Trick was there. Exhaust is on him, and Hybrid is caught all alone. Zven will get the kill onto that one. First pickup for G2 Esports, and it goes to the 80 carry.
And we really have to call out that play from Origen because they knew Trick had been on the bottom side. He had taken away the blue buff, he got the Rift Scuttler. They had no idea if he was staying around bottom side or if he just ran top, and then they went for an all-in with very, very, very little information. And they're using Flash for the all-in as well, because obviously they go for tahm kench. They know if they go for Caitlyn, she gets saved by Mithy. Extremely risky play. The kind of plays you like to make in scrims to kind of test. But then in LCS, we often see teams starting and say, no, we don't know where the jungle is, we don't want to risk it. But Hybrid here just said, you know what, let's all in for it. No idea where the Kindred is, and instantly counter-ganked.
Yeah, Hybrid only got the knock-up on the Mithy. That might have been the red flag there. And you can see Forgiven already a little bit too low. Couldn't get further involved in that. And the Tongue Lash kept him even further out of the fight.
Going for Mithy was technically the correct choice. Because in Origen's mind, it's just amazing coming for a gank. It's a 3v2 situation. You take the tahm kench, you knock him back, you kill him. Because then he obviously can't save it on. He can't devour himself. So it was the correct engage in that sense. I just think the play was extremely risky when Trick had just been on bottom side.
Well, and it speaks to the same type of plays that got Origen into trouble last game. They started out very even with the lane swap situation, then tried to fight when they didn't have full vision of where the jungler was. Punish them yet again. So 1-1 in kills is the score. G2 holding on to a 300 gold lead. Not very significant, but it is only 6 minutes in. Perkz still bullying a little bit on PowerOfEvil, but there's not a huge CS differential there. The bigger one is up top, where SoaZ has been out farming Kikis, and of course on the bottom side, on the other side, where Zven is out farming FORG1VENGRE, who used to really have those incredibly dominant CS numbers, but he's obviously having a little bit of a harder time now.
Yeah, it makes it a bit harder when you obviously die in the first gank or your support dies here. Still, I think Origen had a correct decision in the early game with Amazing going to top side, setting up that early gank against Kikis, investing flash for it as well. Because again, we talk about how impactful the Fizz can be and how little Maokai needs to be useful. So you really want to get that advantage. That's fine for Origen. We get standard lanes. We'll get more ganks as well. When you play Elise, you want to be active in the early game. And Amazing is a great Elise player.
He certainly made good use of it here. Still, one gank good, one not quite there because they didn't have enough vision of where Trick was on the map. Mithy and Zven have really been bullying, though, pushing FORG1VENGRE and Hybrid down bottom. You have to think that Amazing will try to take advantage of this situation. He's just not there yet, still hanging around towards the mid and top side. And a lot of pink ward coverage by Origen as Perkz tries for the shuffle, is denied by the flash from PowerOfEvil.
Yeah, so basically forcing the flash. Trick showed himself around the mid lane. Didn't use flash himself on the side of Perkz, so good little shuffle in. That means you can now follow up with a gank once you get your ulti available from Perkz' side. And yes, Amazing would love to gank the bottom lane one more time, but you used your summoners from the Alistar. There's still full summoners on the side of G2. It becomes very, very difficult to execute the gank because Alistar has to just Q or headbutt polarize straight into like a tahm kench. And if you get counter ganked one more time, well, suddenly your bot lane is completely lost. So Amazing is finding himself in the worst kind of situation as a jungler where your lanes are starting to lose on one side of the map and you really want to help them, but you guys don't have the summoner spells, and it becomes too risky because you don't know where the enemy jungler is.
Definitely waiting for a little bit more time for at least those summoners to come back up, but they have to be careful with Trick, who's really been all over the map here. Hybrid still has some moments to go on his flash, close. And FORG1VENGRE is really, really close to getting his heal back, so maybe that starts to change, but you can see G2 already starting to invest in some wards around Dragon, maybe just to prevent Amazing from coming through River.
And one thing we're going to see more now on some of these mid laners like Azir. Let's talk about it after because it's an all-in top.
Yeah, this is a big bruisery fight. Kikis throws the Maelstrom on as SoaZ has already spent his ultimate. The flash for flash trading. Kikis goes a little far forward, and SoaZ gets the outplay. Teleporting out of there. Will he make it? Yes, he will!
SoaZ always does that. I don't know how, but SoaZ always managed to escape with teleporting. Kikis was winning that fight, but then he got under the tower and took an extra tower shot. And he then dies in the 1v1. You even saw SoaZ flash away because he knew with the damage from Kikis' ulti, it was enough for the Fizz to lose, but then the tower shot happened.
If you need something for your mentality, it's a SoaZ miracle play is always a good one. Excellent moves. 2-0 now on the Fizz.
Great start by SoaZ. Getting the TP away does mean obviously that G2 can make a play on the bottom side with the Maokai, but remember these towers are a lot stronger, so it is harder to make these dives. I was about to talk about the Azir. Not as exciting as what we're going to see now.
Mithy's going on an Abyssal Voyage.
Wait, he's just going to kill the ping?
Well, for a second he wasn't even going to. He got one hit on it. You know they regen now, right, Mithy?
I mean, they can't technically set up the Maokai TP as we talked about just before. Alistar is level 6 though, so that's very risky.
Okay, so I was keeping Kikis occupied here, but the teleport advantage is for G2. Unfortunately, he may not have much of a chance to use it. Mithy does walk straight into the cocoon, but he's not too fussed about that. G2 trying to make sure they keep vision cleared in this bottom side jungle. SoaZ with big wave now marching towards top once again, pushing Kikis into that. He dives on in before playful trickstering out.
Again, big advantage. You can set up Amazing to this top lane as well. Next time a wave hits tower, and you can dive Kikis straight away with the Fizz. Fizz and Elise are so good at resetting tower aggro. So let's see the one-on-one. SoaZ is actually realizing kind of halfway through the fight that he's not winning it. Once Kikis gets his ulti up here, and SoaZ realizes he doesn't have enough damage with the all-in. You can see how Kikis is waiting with ulti until he sees the full all-in with the Fizz, with the fish, and then he goes for it. But Kikis gets on the tower, takes one shot from it, and SoaZ is kind of like poke, and then he TPs away.
Trick nearly got him. That was one hit in the Wolf's Frenzy away from death. Let's go back to this mid lane because the Chaos Storm came out and Perkz was able to limp away.
About that fit,
Everyone's hanging in the
that
wing.
Azir build. Right.
Let's talk about Azir.
Right.
You got the
Azir
chance,
build.
Officio.
Abyssal Scepter was something we saw rushed very often before in these AP matchups. But after the changes to it, now it costs more, gives less AP, more MR. It's actually not that strong anymore to build on a champion like Azir. So instead, what I think we're going to see is more like you go for MR boots, and then you still go for Nashor's Tooth here as your first item. And that's like the MR you need just comes from the boots straight away.
And there you go.
And also because you can actually run MR blues now instead of scaling cooldown reduction, because there's so much cooldown reduction on items. You can get some MR there, plus your boots, to kind of make up for the fact you don't really build Abyssal anymore on an Azir, unless you're against a matchup that can really just one-shot you. So that's what we see Perkz do. Finally. And now we can fight again.
Yep, there goes the fish. Kikis realizes there's a spider waiting in the wings as well. No flash available to get out of town. He tries to juke, but it's just not enough. Kikis does get an arcane smash off, but Amazing will claim the kill on that. And now, the wave pushing in on the top side, they can start to do some serious work on the tower. Mithy absorbing the Forgiven culling down in the bottom side, but OG are starting to fire. And they're really making G2 sweat here.
I mean, we didn't get the dive, but we got the next best thing here, was just Amazing moving up and saying, you know what, I'm just going to gank you. You know, we can set up, you have no flash. Knock up from SoaZ and then straight into Cocoon from Amazing. Great setup again by OG and really snowballing this top lane.
And G2 grabbed themselves another Cloud Drake. I'm sure they're sick of them at this point. But Trick was able to get that as a consolation prize in all of the madness. 300 gold is in favor of Origen, though, at the time.
And that's actually, again, another situation where once you see the Cloud Drake, you kind of say, you know what, we can actually invest our jungler towards the top side. Because we don't care if you trade a dragon for one more kill, because it's a Cloud Drake. So who cares? We actually rather get another kill for the source on top side, and even get some damage on top tower. And that's again why Origen are fine just constantly rushing top and ganking over and over.
Yeah, there's really nothing that they have to worry about giving up towards that bottom side. And the lanes are pretty standard, too. I mean, unless they can get a two-man sweep on it, there's no way they're really going to be able to start fast pushing either way in the bottom side because of the way the standard lane is shaken out. Now, Amazing is moving in towards bottom. Will he elect to go for this dive situation against Zven and Mithy? There's traps lined up all across the board, though.
Double TP from Origen, though. Nothing from G2. He has 2 TPs coming in.
Oh, they're investing pretty heavy. They're asking for help. Mithy, they get the block on the Cocoon, but they turn their attention anyways. He eats the Caitlyn trick coming in. PowerOfEvil sends out the Chaos Storm and nothing doing. Huge investment. No one dies, but this tower's on the menu.
Yeah, tower suddenly going to take a lot of damage. Will go down here. Origen gets 1 tower, but Perkz, because he's been winning the mid lane, will trade for mid tower. All flashes used by G2, but a great defense here. You saw how Mithy got the fish first, didn't use his devour. He waited until then the fish was gone, and then Zven suddenly went trouble, eats him, spits him out, and everyone stays alive. So that was double TP invested from Origen, and all that happened was you traded bot tower for mid tower. Definitely a win for G2.
Have to be happy with how that one happened for sure. Pretty even in the gold game.
Top tower
G2 now, they swing the 300 gold back in their favor. Kikis pushing on with the help of Perkz. Trick is also waiting in the wings, but he's got to be careful not to get caught by SoaZ. Playful and Trickster. Trick is going very, very low, but he's got the red buff. Throws a Lambster Spy to avoid dying to PowerOfEvil, and in comes Perkz trying for the shuffle play. Didn't happen this time. Emperor's Divide has to be used defensively. SoaZ is still on the chase. Hybrid in hot pursuit. Will they be able to get the catch on? Headbutt Pulve is flashed away. SoaZ still looking for chase, but he can't find a damn thing, and Kikis is just walking it out now. G2 are able to get away.
Another disengage here from G2. Origen constantly looking for some of these plays, setting up a few flanks. They want to fight. They want to use the advantages they got with this Fizz. In the end, it's a mid tower for G2, and now this top tower taking a lot of damage. Will of course go down, even going for Kikis.
Headbutt Pulve, they get the fish on, but Mithy eats him, and the fish goes up and fish goes out. Spitting Kikis back out. Exhaust is on, but he flashes away way too quickly. Origen should still be able to finish this tower, but it is a wacky fight up top.
Yeah, he just cost him his flash, spitting him back in towards Origen.
Maybe there's still some synergy issues to work out there. Origen will get a tower for their trouble, though. 2-1 now is the score, with the outer bottom and top being taken by OG. G2 getting the one in the mid with the trade earlier on. We're 15 minutes into this game. It's already been a lot more action-heavy.
A lot more fights.
But it could have been a lot more kills. It's been some close calls.
I mean, we have seen, of course, good setups, but also very, very good reactions coming in from Mithy down the bottom lane with the tahm. Kench also up there top saving Kikis one more time. Also we see PowerOfEvil with his build on this Viktor here. Very often you'll see him now go for the last Hex core upgrade just to get even more movement speed on his ulti, which is so strong now. And also this Morellonomicon, which obviously gives flat mana instead of just poor mana regen, and flat mana actually scales with Viktor's shield on Q now. So he gets a flat mana from Morello, he gets a flat mana from Hex core, which actually makes his shield like about 50-60 HP stronger in the late game compared to before. I totally did not look that up. I just know it.
Because the senses. It's the senses that you have about it. Well, somebody who used to play a lot of Lulu, I can imagine you probably just kind of feel these things when they change.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course. I actually thought at first it was going to be like way more for Viktor with these mana changes, but at least my math was like 50-60 extra late game. So it wasn't that massive, but it's something.
Well, that's fair. You're typically better at math than I am, but I know why you're excited. There's a Mountain Drake coming up, which is a lot more heavily prioritized, but that'll still be a minute and a half away. We'll get to it in just a little bit. Origen right now, they're setting up a lot of control around where the Rift Herald is, but I don't imagine they want to try to fight for it. And Hybrid, he's caught up. He throws on the Unbreakable Will. Look at how he flashes away just to try to avoid all the damage, but he's still gone down. Perkz manages to secure the kill. First in the pocket for the Azir. G2 set up the trap and snap it shut on the cow. Yeah, Hybrid getting caught out here. Rest of Origen was sitting in multiple lanes without any global, so they couldn't help him, allowing G2 to set up a play. Hybrid will respawn in time to go down and contest the dragon, at least. And now they're setting up, or they were setting up a play on the bottom side. If PowerOfEvil had stayed on the tower, he would have been ganked. But otherwise, you just get a free tower instead on the side of G2. And then you can start getting a bit of this deep vision in. You have your TP location then for the Maokai. Help set up for this dragon as well.
And suddenly you can set up for that dragon, exactly.
Let's take a look at how this started again, because Hybrid thinks he's safe waiting in this brush, but he's spotted by that ward, and instantly Perkz goes in. Jaw snapshot.
Yeah, a little bit sloppy play for Hybrid, honestly. Late flash, and then also the fact he even stayed in River in the first place. When Viktor was sitting bot side with no teleport, like you have nothing to do in River there. As an Alistar, that's kind of just honestly disrespecting what an Azir can do, like the amount of distance he can close so easily, and therefore G2 picks up a free kill. But Dragon is spawning soon. You can see both teams hovering around it.
Ooh, speaking of covering distance, he runs the quick sprint all the way back there. So Origen trying to find an opening to get a pick, maybe take themselves a dragon off the back of it. 18.5 minutes is, of course, your game time right now. So 1,000 gold separating Origen and G2, but a lot of tower pushes on either side. Teleports aplenty. Everyone who has them has got them available, and Origen with that advantage. We'll see if Kikis can last through this. He's going to have to be careful. The fish does not hit. And SoaZ still chasing down. The dragon gets taken very stealthily, very quickly by G2, but Kikis' teleport is been stopped. With Amazing and SoaZ right at his back, he's getting flashbacks to the earlier dives up in the top side. Kikis will not live through the night here. Solace knowing that his team was able to secure Mountain Drake, I suppose.
Right,
oh, the jukes!
And he's
not
buying
enough.
So much time that the rest of G2 is setting up on the bottom side here. Amazing needs to come down straight away to defend it. He might be in time. He's recalling now. But Origen is saying, we don't care about that second dragon. We just want more kills for SoaZ. And again, make him this split pusher. See how much damage G2 can actually get on tower, because Amazing is on the way from base.
They have that bonus true damage from the Mountain Drake as well, helping them out even further. Forgiven sends his calling flying just to try and clear the wave away, but there's another one right at the back of it here.
Is there any wards behind for SoaZ to TP on? No, Origen can't really set up a fight either, with Kikis being dead and Kikis obviously wasting TP on top side. That could have been an opening for Origen. But no wards behind, and you now see G2 disengage, knowing SoaZ is back in base himself, respecting it, and therefore nothing more happens. But fun to see again how Origen is putting so much focus on SoaZ, giving away a second dragon. Mountain Drake is very good for these compositions with Caitlyn, with Azir, like these long range comps that can actually get some hits on towers. It really, really helps, but it's mainly a snowball dragon. Because let's say you're really far behind and you get a Mountain Drake, like, congratulations, you do more damage on the tower, but you're never getting to the tower in the first place, which is so far behind.
Ooh, another
not hitting fish.
Yeah, so as fed as he is right now, if you're not able to land your ultimate, you just can't get enough damage to try and close that. Perkz was able to walk away pretty easily, joining up with Mithy here. So still maintaining that lead, still with that bonus in their back pocket. With 20 minutes on the clock here, Origen are moving towards the top side, hoping to get another catch on a Kikis. He's the only one who's really been punished, though. And as you said earlier in the game, Maokai behind is not that big a deal. You still have that point-and-click CC.
Yeah.
You will still be a big, beefy tank. Sure, you may not have as much gold to work with, but that's fine. Kikis is not really in that much trouble, and he's used to these kinds of situations.
It's his role on this team, honestly. And Maokai, it's what he does so well. We see now PowerOfEvil just went back to base, picked up that last Hex core as we talked about, getting the 3rd upgrade very early on, and then have that extra move speed for his ulti. And now we need to see, coming into this team fight, it's going to be very, very explosive. Origen especially have a lot of burst damage. Viktor straight away with his ulti. Lucian so quickly can get down so much damage. One of the reasons this Ghostblade Black Cleaver is so good for Lucian is because he can apply the Black Cleaver stack so quickly.
Well, shred a lot of armor as well, but
yeah.
Even so, Kikis is still going to be a big, beefy frontline for him to deal with. If he can't wear through that, he can't really apply all that armor shred to anyone else.
So this is actually where their Lucian build really benefits Origen. In this case, because the Maokai has died so many times and is behind, so he didn't get to rush any massive armor items yet, which means their flat armor penetration is good. Later on in the game, when you have like Sunfire, when you have a Randuin, so maybe you have a Thornmail, then this flat armor penetration does very little for the Lucian. Then you want percentage armor penetration instead. And that's where Lucian can struggle late game, killing these big tanks with this build, because you don't really get enough crit coming in, which you normally see for late game AD carries. Tons of crits. You see the Caitlyn build, obviously, with Infinity Edge. But it is so good in the mid game, and so good against squishy targets. Constantly remove that flat armor means you can almost deal true damage if you get fully stacked with Black Cleaver.
And that's important for the moment that they have this power spike, because on the other side, Zven is going to have some trouble with the Caitlyn mid-game dip, as it's commonly referred to. They still have a lot of other options in terms of damage, in terms of being able to fight. But where can OG really get in and use the solution to its advantage?
Well, I mean, they want to fight now, honestly, with this. Obviously, the thing to add is it's with the Ghostblade, the flat penetration. Black Cleaver is percentage that he does reduce once you stack it up, so that is good for Forgiven. He can get a Last Whisper as well, and then basically what he's lacking is the crit for a late game build. But he gets percentage from Black Cleaver, he gets it from his Last Whisper. It is the armor penetration on the Ghostblade that is only great in the early game, mid game, not the greatest in the late game. Just to make it clear.
Yep. We have the timers that the teams can work with. Amazing. Ooh, you got to be careful not to walk right into the Sand Soldiers like that. Another tower is taken up in the top side. This time it's courtesy of Trick, and they start pushing with Zven towards tier number 2, but Amazing and Hybrid are waiting in the wings with Forgiven not far behind. They have to be careful. The Cocoon narrowly misses, and that's the cue to get out of town.
So Giju's still the team pushing in these side lanes first with the Caitlyn every single time, trying to put a bit of pressure on these tier 2 towers, and Origen are always kind of waiting for SoaZ to be in position to do something, but he's also been roaming around a bit, so not been able to like extend his CS lead, but he's been picking up all the kills instead. Sunfire almost completed for Kikis. He's currently sitting on about 800 gold, so he's getting there, slowly but surely, still at the point where the Ghostblade flat armor penetration does have value, and then of course the percent from the Black Cleaver.
And every second that it keeps ticking towards the clock, this really does help G2. You look at this composition they have. They've got the Caitlyn, they've got the Azir, they've got the Maokai. It just gets scarier and scarier and harder to deal with. On the other hand, OG are not bereft of late game, as we talked about this. SoaZ, even though he's tanky, he should have a lot more power in the later game, and the Viktor is ridiculous.
Yeah, I want to see Origen fight now for this next dragon here. I want to see them say, you know what, we have the Lucian in a massive power spike with 2 items. We have our fully completed Hex core for Viktor. He's strong as well in these mid-game fights now. We don't want to risk going full late game against Caitlyn, against Azir, against a Kindred as well compared to an Elise. So I want to see Origen contest this next dragon.
It's a Mountain Drake too.
Problem is G2 have been setting up really well. They have a lot of deep vision behind. There's no minion wave they need to deal with right now. This big wave on top side is going to be pushing down fairly slow. Kikis has teleport to go up and clear it out, and then TP in.
And there's no opener.
Origen not doing anything because they lost that river. They just said, you know what, we're not going to risk it. That's 2 Mountain Drakes now for G2.
That gives them a lot of tower burn to just try and keep poking away. And when you've got enough range on you like Caitlyn, like Azir, it's going to get so much harder for OG to really try and contest and push back.
Yeah, not only just tower damage, but also Baron control. You're going to get also later on, like 1 mistake from Origen, and that Baron is going to be bursted down much faster than normal. OG might say, you know what, we didn't have vision for Dragon, so we didn't want to risk blind checking. instead put your focus on Baron then, try and force the team fight around the Baron. But I really don't think Origen are looking to go extremely late game here without doing anything. They need to start setting up something. Use this Lucian and his strong 2 items.
Right now, Forgiven hasn't had as much to do in this game, just trying to stay sideways and clear things back, and he'll pick himself up a red buff. And if they can start pushing forward and trying to grab vision around this river, stop G2 from getting a sneaky Baron attempt off or anything like that, it's going to be so hard. But there is the fight in the middle, and Hybrid goes forward, but Perkz is going to quickly flash away. A teleport is burned. Lamb's Respite, everything. Ultimate's flying. The fish goes down, misses again from SoaZ, but this might be the opening they need to take down mid-tier 1.
Yeah, G2 using a lot here to try and defend both Kindred ulti and then of course Mithy also devouring a target. So a bit of miscommunication again from G2. Origen finally get a bit of an opening, even though it's actually Perkz who started it by moving close to PowerOfEvil.
They might get 2 towers here.
Just turn straight around. So this is what OG wants. Finally they get a tower here. Obviously Forgiven building towards that rapid fire cannon, we would expect to get a bit of extra range coming in. But doesn't have it just yet, so he has to be careful of stepping on these traps. You take a lot of damage all of a sudden as a squishy.
Very true. They have to calling disengage. Mithy taking a lot of damage, but tricking Kikis looking to chase down Hybrid. Backing off of that. G2 are able to successfully defend tier 2, but the opener from all of those ultimates used allowed them to grab at least 1 on the outside.
And we just get to see some of the damage Origen can deal. Perkz obviously shouldn't be diving straight forward there in the mid lane, even though he had the safety of both Kindred and tahm kench. End up using the flash for it. Maybe trying to just force out a flash from PowerOfEvil with his own ulti. TPing now straight to top. Baron is where G2 is hovering around. And honestly, Origen is still not being in control. Even though they were so far ahead on top side. 3 dragons and river control for G2 almost all game long. It means that Origen is constantly sitting back and not really forcing any fights.
Yeah, and we're starting to see them fold a little bit more like we did the last game. A couple of early mistakes is what really put them in that bad situation. This time, they just haven't really been as proactive. Now, the Baron's being started with 3. Trick, Zven, and Kikis. A lot of damage between them. Amazing will be able to get the vision down if he wants it. He's going to have to go for the hero steal, though. Is this not going to finish up? Here we go. He goes up. He goes down. Will he stay out long enough to get the smite off? No, they turn attention. He steals it away. Amazing gives his life for the Origen cause.
G2 thought they could just kill him before the Baron went too low, but of course there's a Hurricane in there as well from Zven dealing a bit of damage. Very hard to just only hit Amazing, and the Baron kept dropping lower and lower and lower. And suddenly he gets it, but the reason G2 could rush the Baron was again double Mountain Drake. Extra damage, had 2 guys hovering around mid, buy a bit of time, but then Amazing gets the steal, making sure Origen aren't done yet. But they're still playing from behind. And it seems very hard for Origen to really make any proactive plays until now. You have the Baron buff. This is your time.
They bought themselves just a little bit of a breathing room, though. Still G2 in that lead. They still have all of the map control. But they made an oopsie. And credit to Origen, credit to Amazing for the hero punish. Let's see how it went down once again. Goes down to about 2,000 before he goes up.
Yeah, look how fast G2 can rush it down. I think now they're saying we can kill Amazing in time before the Baron is low enough. But also with PowerOfEvil using his ulti over the wall was enough damage to get Baron low. Amazing gets the smite off, ends up stealing it. Sieging is still so difficult though. Lucian is too low range. We even see actually his Phantom Dancer coming for Forgiven. The reason, from what I could gather at least on Phantom Dancer in cases like this, is when you are against tanks like Maokai, he has decent damage, but when you get a PD, he actually doesn't really do anything to you. And you can kind of ignore him in these fights, like you will still have to hit him a few times, but he will never really be able to kill you. I still think Rapid Fire Cannon, when you're facing very long range carries, and also ranged jungler, is extremely good. But Forgiven value in getting a bit more survivability.
Yeah. And Kikis having to burn his flash to ensure his own survivability. Origen with the Baron and powered minions shoving down this top side. It looks like for a moment G2 were caught with their pants down, but they do recoup, move up to defend this tower, and Origen aren't able to continue the push. But SoaZ is on the bottom side uncontested. They will be able to get something out of this. The next dragon's coming up in 45 seconds. It's another Mountain Drake. They need to secure that one. Yeah. This might give them enough of an opening to do so.
And it's good for Origen. Getting a few towers, even out the gold, set up for that dragon as you talked about. Next one is going to be Elder Drake after the mountain, of course. So we will get no more these fancy dragons. No Infernal
And they
Drakes
get
have
the
shown up. No Infernal Drakes have shown up
Yeah.
at all. Instead, though, Origen still hovering around. A lot of towers going down. Slight goal lead for them. They couldn't ask for more. And it all came down to a Baron steal, where G2 didn't even need to risk a Baron steal. They had map control. They had double Mountain Drake to rush it down in time. As soon as they saw Amazing, they could have just disengaged. But they stayed in and said, we can kill him in time. Origen is not even around this Mountain Drake at the moment. They're going to give it over.
This is a mistake. This is number 3 that would be given over to G2. SoaZ wants to go in for anything, but it just isn't going to happen.
Wow.
They completely whiffed the fact that the next Drake came up. That is 3 Mountain Drakes. The tower burn is going to be ridiculous for G2. And the next Dragon's going to be Elder. Origen can't get any extra bonuses off of it.
Origen hasn't gotten a single dragon in this entire series. And we are in a meta now where Dragon is a lot stronger. Every region puts focus on it. I'm not saying you have to invest everything into dragons, but it has way more value compared to Spring Split. Giving over another one here. Sure, you still get the Elder Drake and you get the burn from it, but that's about it. It's more about denying it now, honestly, from G2.
Yeah.
And you're giving just G2 another very, very strong win condition. Like, if you get Mountain Drakes plus an Elder Drake and you get to push into a tower, that tower dies instantly. Or if you take the Elder Drake and you rush straight to a Baron, and you basically take down the Baron in like 4 or 5 seconds.
It's going to be really difficult for OG to pull off another steal if it comes down to it. They've given up map control. That time was willingly, as they were too occupied up topside, taking out jungle camps. To their credit, though, they have knocked down a lot of towers with the Baron that obviously evaporated a few minutes ago. But what can they do to keep this momentum rolling? Trying to keep G2 pushed in seems to work for now, but what are they going to do when they realize they can't necessarily fight a 5v5?
They have to win a team fight. They have to. Like, that's basically it for Origen. They're not going to be able to play a 1-3-1 game.
Okay, Mithy's stunned up. That's a lot of damage dealt, but he can Grey Health it back up. Amazing, still trying to punish him here, but they're zoned out of their own mid lane. They have to recall back to base to save the tower. Still the 1v1 in the bottom side. Teleport's available, though, for both top lanes.
Yeah, and OG can not take any sort of, like, base races here against 3 Mountain Drakes. You always have to respect how much damage G2 can deal to your towers now. This one is already down to 50%.
We're already seeing it.
And it's just one little move, that tower is dead.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as you're slightly out of position now, as Origen, you just get punished even more.
Uh-oh. Hybrid, he tried to get the flank off, but he got flanked himself. Throws down Unbreakable Will, and they are all on top of him. He gets a pop-up onto Mithy, who was holding on to Zven for just a moment. PowerOfEvil will snipe down the support, but is it enough to win this fight? Blinking health bars say no, and Origen are going to have to back away at least a few members. SoaZ and PowerOfEvil will tag in. Fish does not connect onto Perkz. Meanwhile, they turn their attention towards Kikis, or rather, he's turned his attention back, and PowerOfEvil will get tricked. Still, Amazing falls finally. Perkz gets the kill. It's a 1-for-2 when all is said and done, and man, was it back and forth in that mid lane.
Let's see, SoaZ still chasing for Zven. He can jump over. Nope, not risking it. Perkz
Turns to
dead.
Perkz. Oh! Until the Sand Soldiers come to his rescue.
And now Kikis. All alone will try and TP out, most likely. And once he realizes he can't... Actually, no, he gets the recall.
Stealth recall.
No one chased him here. PowerOfEvil has been farming and farming and farming. He's gotten to the point on this Viktor now where he deals a ton of damage. He needs a Void Staff, and then he can start literally one-shotting things. Basically, G2 is saying, oh, you're gonna flank? Okay, we wanna try and catch you out. Mithy is actually staying far back because he's ready in case the headbutt happens onto Zven. Eats him, but then we see the damage come in from Viktor. Late ulti from Trick at the same time. And now we actually see the rest of G2 saying, maybe we can get a kill here. Because the Hybrid is back in base, and also Forgiven is back in base, but Trick had no ulti.
SoaZ was left very unchecked in this whole fight, but Amazing obviously goes a little bit far forward at the end of it all. A bit of an all-over-the-place fight for both teams.
Yeah, I really think Trick managed to mess up almost everything in that team fight. He ultied way too late to save Mithy. He then went back in when he didn't have an ulti and no mana and ended up dying one more time to PowerOfEvil. Was way too greedy, honestly, to get back into the fight. So misplaced from Trick, and he got punished for it.
Well, you wanted a closer game to Fish here. We're definitely getting it right now. It's almost bang on even in terms of gold, about 700 separating the two teams. However, the triple Mountain Drake, big advantage to try and take those objectives. You can see how low Baron is getting already. There is a teleport coming inside the back of the pit. One inside the pit, nearly gets sniped away, but Trick is able to smite it down this time. The fight is on, but Baron buff over to OG. Hybrid goes in to try and get a pop-up, but he does not get enough.
It's just when you give away so many dragons, you see how fast G2, even with Kindred, can just walk in so easily. Like Kindred does even better with the Mountain Drake. You just rush it down. If you are not there instantly, you can't stop it.
And they burn teleports to try and do it too, so those are already down. Inhibitors now taken. The base has been broken open, and they look for even more here. Trick throws down a really quick ulti to try and stay alive. SoaZ had the fish on him. They look like they're chasing him back and holding strong, but is the timer running out for OG?
Well, Trick's saying, here, I want to just get some damage on tower. I'm going to pop the ulti before anything can happen, before I can get CC'd, get a few hits on tower. Not sure if he expected to close out the game with Hybrid being dead, but he's back alive now, and in the end, there's just a little bit of damage on Nexus turret. Will, of course, not matter at all. Origen chasing. No ulti from SoaZ. And Elder Drake is coming soon. Origen will need to get it, not really to benefit themselves, but to deny it from G2.
They haven't been able to secure Drake all series, as you've said. They'll have to switch priorities real quickly. It's just been in their blind spot constantly in the 2 games we've seen so far. G2, though, right back in the driver's seat.
It's a Blood Razor Kindred with 3 Mountain Drakes versus 1 Baron. It's not a fair fight. The Baron is alive for 4 seconds anyway.
Well, and their smite even wasn't even there to make that even close to a 50-50, or I guess at this point like a 80-20. 15 seconds on the next dragon, but it won't really matter with Perkz and the rest of the G2 crew moving up towards topside to try and take out this inner turret. Amazing will run right into Mithy and decide he would really rather not get caught by the tahm kench. That tower just gets cut through.
Yeah, it is faster to kill a tower than a pink ward at this point of your G2.
You can see it right there. SoaZ going in. SoaZ going out. He does get the playful trickster on, a little bit of AoE damage. Wave is cleared through, and a Culling gets absorbed by Kikis. They fall back to the Sun Disc turret.
Hybrid needs to pull up an insane flank here. As soon as G2 moves up to that tower, teamfight needs to start instantly from Origen, and they have to win that fight.
Kikis is backing here. Will he teleport back into this? Zven nearly runs into the gravity field. He does avoid it at the last second. Teleport back in. There's Kikis. They're looking to try and finish out this tower. Chaos Storm comes up and the Lamster Spite's on. Hybrid does pull off the massive flank, but they can't kill anyone with the Lamster Spite on just yet. SoaZ will take out Zven, gets a double kill, nails Trick in the back, and this might be the fight that OG are looking for. Kikis on the retreat, gets eaten up by Mithy. Will they stay alive? Running and running as fast as they can. Kikis, they turn their attention to him. He's not going anywhere. Twisted advance right into his death. PowerOfEvil secures the kill. It's a 4-for-0, and Mithy is still on the run from SoaZ.
Just buying time right now, but SoaZ chasing him, Elder Drake right there, seeing everything. Not sure, now Origen won't have time to win the game, but they get a teamfight victory. They get an Elder Drake.
They do lose a Nexus turret, though, for the Winions.
G2 was so greedy for that tower. They moved straight in. The reason they TP'd as well was to make sure the minion couldn't die, and they could just step in, get a few hits on that tower and take it down, but then open up Origen to get the perfect engage. And there was so much damage even before the fight started. Elder Drake now for Origen. Great team fight, and really risky play from G2.
But for Origen, it paid off. You talked about Hybrid needing the perfect flank engage, and boy, did he have it. So Elder Drake burn, and more importantly, that denial from G2. That's 10 minutes before they'll get another chance to grab the Elder Dragon. Baron's still several minutes away. Origen have clawed their way back into being relevant this game, but it's still going to be a climb. They do have a gold lead after all that, too.
Yeah, because they got so many towers from that Baron steal from Amazing. Before great Baron power play from them. But then G2 honestly been trying to just get into the base. They tried for Nexus turrets, realized we can't really do this. Then they went for top tower, realized maybe we shouldn't invest everything just to get a tower. Look at this. TP on the minion to set up this. And look at the damage coming from PowerOfEvil early on. Hybrid with the great engage, and then SoaZ with the flank. G2 are just really disrespecting how good Origen can still play these late game team fights. Or how well they can play these late game team fights. It's still a Viktor standing there, and Lucian is not a weak late game AD carry either.
No. As long as he doesn't die, they have so much damage to be able to do. And they also have this Fizz that SoaZ has been piling to really chase down those kills. Yes, he's secured. I mean, he's been involved in almost every single kill on the map, but with good reason, because he's the janitor that hunts you down.
He's the guy they decided to get fed over taking dragons in the early game, as an example.
At this point, it's looking like it wasn't the worst thing to happen.
So that was the perfect setup for Origen. G2 wasted almost everything. They got a great flank. Lucian could get in range. You know, could start hitting people even without the rapid fire cannon. They get another tower for it as well. Elder Drake will run out very soon. It's only here for 2 minutes.
Yep.
But that was everything Origen could have hoped for.
We've seen the game seesaw a little bit back in their favor. Baron's going to be up in a minute and a half, but that'll still be a while before contestability. Origen still need to make sure that they do not get caught and blindsided by G2 moving quickly for an objective on the map. That's what's punished them this entire series.
Yeah, basically, if Origen and G2 meet in the middle where they can see each other and Origen is forced to run straight at G2, Origen will lose the fight. If G2 is trying to group on a tower and siege it down and they're open to flanks, and Origen can pull off a great flank with the Fizz, with the Alistar, then Origen can win the fights. You need to put Forgiven in a position where you can actually deal damage with right targets, and you obviously need to make sure SoaZ has an impact in the fight compared to the Maokai. But if this Caitlyn, if this Azir gets to just sit back, kite backwards constantly, get a few hits here and there with the long range, and the time gets to save someone, then Origen will really struggle. It's all about flanking against defending, and you need vision on the sides if you're G2.
The delicate dance of a game. Balancing on a knife's edge as we approach the 42-minute mark into the game. Another half minute, the Baron will be available once again. G2 may make a beeline for it, but there is a lot of Origen vision, a lot of ability to flank, the double teleport advantage. They've got a lot going for them if they stay on their toes.
We'll get another Baron this game. This time around, Origen in position, pushing in 2 lanes at once. Obviously with the Blade of the Rune King for SoaZ, even better against the Maokai now. To be basically another option for Origen. Like, if we can keep you guys dancing in the mid lane, SoaZ will be able to get to your tower, and he will get a few hits on tower every single time. And over time, he will be able to take down that inhib turret, maybe get an inhib as well, and he will actually be another threat you have to deal with this Blade of the Rune King. Kikis, though, making sure to snare him early on, and then force him to dash away. But you see, SoaZ just staying. He doesn't care. He literally does not care about Kikis.
PowerOfEvil sending his teleport, too, to make sure that they get back into the mid lane very quickly. Do not give up a moment. That does burn that TP, but they still got the one on SoaZ, so it's 1-for-1 available still. Tense moment in this mid lane as they just trade waves back and forth, trying to make sure they can keep the push on. SoaZ, though, is marching another wave of minions crashing into this tower, and they might invest a little bit more in that with the rest of OG coming.
Well, you can see how G2 don't want to rush straight to Baron, risking open 5-on-5 where they're going to get flanked from multiple angles here, and at the same time also the risk of just SoaZ getting that tower on the bottom side. Kikis can't do much on his own other than just defend under the tower. And then you wait for TPs to happen. But it is Origen with control, with the river control. Here you see SoaZ just give a few hits on tower, just a few hits, poke it a few times. Then you jump out and you do this the next 5-6 waves. And then this tower is dead. Takes a lot of time, though.
I mean, it's true. It's a slow march, but able to get it. Perkz dodges out of the cocoon from Amazing. Trying to push forward into OG territory and deny them getting a little bit more vision here. Mithy does clear out the last of the wards in the back of that pit. Power takes a bit more poke damage, and now that's cue to call for the Baron to start things off. It's already melting like Swiss cheese. They just got it.
Like, as soon as you lose the river control, that Baron is dead in like 3 seconds, basically. As soon as you lose the river control, all it took was G2 pushed forward, got a few hits on PowerOfEvil, rest of Origen kind of backed away, and suddenly river was there, the Baron was open, G2 took it in a few seconds. And now we're back again.
Yep, defense mode activated.
Exactly, where Origen is trying to set the flank when G2 is pushing on the tower. No Elder Drake for a long time. We don't care about that one. Honestly, we're back because it was a big mini wave on top side. It was Hybrid sitting down here, trying to flank. Let's see if G2 learned and actually place a few wards and don't invest everything to try and take down tower. This is one of the biggest waves I've seen.
And it's Baron empowered too. Forgiven. Steps up to the plate to try and bat these away. He's got Amazing at his back, but with Trick and Perkz, they don't want to take the fight. Hybrid setting up, gets the bop up onto Mithy. Will he even get the Grey Health? Yes, he will. Fish goes down on him. He takes a lot of damage, and he dodges just outside of the rest of the Chaos Storm. But they will have to think twice about that. Once again.
Very good reaction by Origen here. Knowing that G2 will set up these wards to spot them, they just waited. They were ready for it. SoaZ actually just sold his Blade of the Rune King. Said that didn't work. Went for a Proto Belt instead.
Yeah. I've not seen a Proto Belt actually being built in a lot of games.
Just give a bit of extra damage.
Yeah.
That people underestimate. And an extra little dash obviously for him.
Yeah.
Not gonna make the biggest
Does get eaten here though. He's gonna have to Playful Trickster once again. Takes a little bit of damage for his trouble. They are buying time though. Trying to run out this Baron buff. Trying to be a little bit tasty and juicy. See, as once again bops his way to freedom away from Kikis.
Ah, the dash, the value. I actually prefer the Blade Rune King also just from the attack speed you got from it when you were getting to these towers. And yes, it's very slow, you get them down, but everything counts. This late in the game as a almost full tank Fizz, don't feel like that extra little mobility and actual damage will be that big of a factor for him. But we have to see. Obviously, he has so much gold. We can just keep doing this, but.
And even more gold for G2 though.
Now he sold it again. He just sold it because
I think he just wanted to try.
Now he's on an hourglass. Okay, fine.
All right, whatever.
When that's on cooldown, he's gonna sell that too.
Yeah, and they caught Perkz with the cocoon. There's the Chaos Storm, but it's not enough damage to finish him off. The fish comes in onto Kikis, and that tickles him.
But again, Origen setting up for another flank. Perkz taking a lot of damage, had to use flash. Kikis just stayed around.
Perkz is getting the recall. I mean, they have empowered recall thanks to the Baron buff, so they should be able to get out a little bit quicker, but they don't want to stagger if they're going to have to fight. So, OG keep the pressure on, looking for anything they can find here. Still, found Kikis. They get the headbutt pulverized, but he gets eaten by Mithy. Everyone gets saves. Mithy now is the one in the back line, but Trick, oh, that's a lot of damage. Procs his shields, but still half his health is dealt already. SoaZ looking to dive onto the front. They've caught Mithy. He can't even gray health. Forgiven gets his first kill of the game. 46, almost 47 minutes in, and Origen still threatening.
And we see it again here. Whenever G2 is pushing up, they overextend. Honestly, suddenly Perkz gets caught out, takes a lot of damage, uses flash, meaning G2 just have to run. Origen keep coming from different flanks. Pick up one more kill. Elder Drake, 1 minute and 40 seconds. It's another important one.
To keep denying.
If G2 gets it, they can just literally walk straight in, almost one-shot towers. If Origen gets it, it can be their way to secure a teamfight victory.
Oh, okay. Try again in 3.5.
Perkz had no flash, so technically the play wasn't bad. Like the idea wasn't bad.
No, I just needed to hit it.
Wasn't.
Oh, but they do have Perkz on the Chaos Storm, and that's going to force him to dodge out of that. They don't have any extra damage on the tower, but still, the win conditions are just so clear for these two teams. Origen need to get picks or get a fight, win it, and then start marching down. G2 just need to carefully peck away and wear away at that base, just like they were able to do in Game 1. Kikis gets the recall, even though he's spotted full vision from the rest of Origen. But it's so tough for either team to execute that as well as they want to right now. Full builds, full items, 48 minutes. The next Dragon, honestly, could decide everything if it gets fought over directly. We've rarely seen these straight up 5
And it will. You know, we will see a fight around it. Origen, everyone just recalled, they're rushing towards it now. G2 gets a chance to set up the traps. One of the very strong things about Caitlyn, how you can set up for objectives, put down these traps every single time there's a little entrance coming in. If a squishy member walks in, he takes a ton of damage. If it's a tank, you at least get to poke him down quite a bit. If it's an Alistar, if you can get him to early ulti, he doesn't have that much value in the fight.
Oh boy.
So the setup is there, but Origen is just pushing straight down mid, trying to force G2 to come back and defend.
Oh no, SoaZ, he's trying to make himself look juicy again, but has he overstepped his bounds here? Meanwhile, buying a little bit of time for the rest of Origen to start pushing down the turrets. They're recalling. They're not going to go for this Dragon. That tower just melted, and they get a free one.
G2 was setting up for that Dragon, and then Origen said, you know what, we're just going to go straight mid. We're going to force you to move back through your own jungle, trying to defend it, but way too late, obviously, with G2 and chasing it. Amazing getting caught out. How?
Don't even need ace in the hole on that. Amazing gave his life.
This game's getting weird.
It is definitely getting a little odd. And that might be the opening for the Dragon. SoaZ is actually waiting in the wings to see if a squishy walks by. Zven is actually farther forward. Will he go in? No. Way too many members of G2 around.
Yeah, Kindred ulti as well, Pyra.
Yeah, you can't just one-shot people. Not on Tank Fizz.
I mean, if you are Origen now...
I'm here. I'm going to go for Perkz. And denied.
The value of the tahm kench. That's an Elder Drake now.
And that's that is going to be a dead SoaZ. No, he gets his Guardian Angel. I completely forgot he still had that. So they're going to take him down the second time after his Zhonya's channels. That is 2 members down. Amazing still for half a minute. Unless SoaZ can buy even more time. No. Shut down by Perkz. Elder Drake for a few minutes. This is a massive power play to try and sweep into the base of Origen.
Over a minute on SoaZ here. Rest of G2 can push straight into the base. If they get onto these Nexus turrets, they will go down so quickly. Insane value from this Elder Drake when you have 4 dragons, 3 of them being the Mountain Drakes.
That inhibitor won't last very long at all. Power trying to defend, just sending a couple of shots.
All right, let's see the damage.
Way of G2. Let's see how much damage they can get. 1 Nexus turret, and the rest of the team is all that stands between them. 35 seconds on SoaZ. G2 have a timer to try and end this game right here, right now.
Zven needs to get in, get a few hits on the tower, and then you can always back away if you're afraid of an engage to happen.
Dancing in for it. That's already starting to go very low. Kikis tanking up the laser of the turret. It's half its health here. They don't want to fully commit to it just yet, but PowerOfEvil, he could go down in this. He's not very healthy, trying to stay alive, but the Nexus is bare. Now can they get the fight to save it? The Nexus is going down. They don't even need the fight. And G2 finish the 2-0.